Okay, just think about this for a second. Right now, you've got trillions of cells in your body, and every single one is screaming for fuel. So how do they get it? Well, your body is running the most incredible delivery service you can possibly imagine. And in the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works. Let's dive in. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll meet the key players in this system. Then we'll zoom right in on the heart. After that, we're going to follow the oxygen-rich blood on its big journey, see where the real magic happens at the cellular level, trace its trip back home, and finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the brilliant design of the whole double circulation system. All right, first up, let's get down to the basics. What is the system really doing, and who are the main characters in this whole story? Yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? The one our circulatory system answers every single second. How do you fuel literally everything, from just thinking a thought to breaking into a full-on sprint? The answer is this perfectly coordinated delivery network, and we're about to meet the key players. Really, it all comes down to four main parts. First, you've got the heart. That's the engine, the relentless pump. Then you have the arteries. Think of these as the major highways carrying blood away from the heart. The veins, they're the return routes, bringing it all back. And the capillaries, these are the tiny little local streets where all the real action, the deliveries and the pickups, actually happens. Okay, now let's get to the absolute center of it all, the engine of life itself, the heart. We're going to see how this thing works because, trust me, it's way more than just a simple pump. It's an absolute marvel of biological engineering. So at its core, what is the heart? Well, it's a muscle, but not just any muscle. It's an incredibly powerful and super specialized one. It's divided into 4 different chambers, and each one has a very specific job to do in this whole process. And the way it's organized is actually pretty simple when you break it down. You've got 2 chambers on top, the atria. Think of them as the receiving rooms for all the incoming blood. Then you've got the 2 bottom chambers, the ventricles. These are the heavy lifters, the real power pumps that forcefully shove the blood out and on its way. Okay, and here's a quick but super important tip. This is something that trips a lot of people up when they look at a diagram of the heart. You have to imagine you're looking at a person who's facing you, so their right side is on your left and their left side is on your right. Got it? Definitely keep that in mind. All right, the stage is set. Let's actually start the journey. We're going to follow a single drop of blood fresh from the lungs and loaded with oxygen as it heads out to do its job. So the whole thing kicks off in the lungs. This is where our blood gets a full cargo of fresh oxygen. From there, it zips through something called the pulmonary vein and goes straight into the heart's left atrium. That's the top left chamber. Then a little valve swings open and that precious oxygen-rich blood flows down to fill the super powerful left ventricle right below it. And this is where you see the heart's real power. With one massive squeeze, the left ventricle blasts that blood into the aorta. That's the body's main super highway. And this is not a gentle push. It's a high-pressure blast, and it has to be, because it's responsible for forcing that blood through literally miles and miles of vessels to reach every last cell, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Okay, so the blood has made it to the right neighborhood, but how does it actually drop off the package? This is where we go from the big highways down to the tiny little local streets. See, those arteries keep branching into smaller and smaller vessels until they become these microscopic things called capillaries. And here's the truly amazing part. Their walls are only 1 cell thick. Think about that for a second. That incredible thinness, that's the whole secret to how the magic of exchange can even happen. This is the whole point of the entire trip. The body's cells get to grab exactly what they need, all that lovely oxygen and nutrients, right through those super thin capillary walls. And at the same time, they dump their trash, waste products like carbon dioxide, back into the blood to be hauled away. It's the perfect drop-off and pickup service. All right, delivery's done. Now this blood, which is full of waste products, has to get back to headquarters for a full recharge. So let's follow it on the return trip. So this deoxygenated blood leaves the tiny capillaries and starts flowing into the veins. The smaller veins start merging together, kind of like streams flowing into a river, until they form the body's main vein, the vena cava. This big vessel dumps the blood directly into the heart's right atrium. That's our top right chamber. And just like on the other side, a valve opens up and the blood fills the right ventricle right below it. And here we go again.
With another powerful squeeze, this time from the right ventricle, that used up, deoxygenated blood gets pumped out, heading for the lungs. Now, here's a cool little fact that you can use to impress your friends. The vessel it travels in is called the pulmonary artery. And you might think, wait, I thought arteries carry oxygenated blood? Well, most do. But the real definition of an artery is that it carries blood away from the heart. So once it gets to the lungs, it drops off all that CO2, picks up a fresh tank of oxygen, and boom, the whole cycle is ready to start all over again.
Okay, let's zoom out one last time because we really need to appreciate the brilliant design of this entire system. It's not just one big, simple loop. It's actually two separate loops working together in perfect harmony.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. For every single trip around the body, a drop of blood actually passes through the heart twice. This is what we call double circulation, and it is the secret to why our system is so incredibly efficient. Think about it. It lets the heart send blood on the short trip to the lungs with just enough pressure, and then, once it comes back, it can give it another huge push for that long journey to the rest of the body.
And you can see the two loops right here. You've got the pulmonary circulation. That's the short trip. It just goes from the heart to the lungs and back again. Its only job? Get oxygen. Then you've got the systemic circulation. That's the long haul. That's the heart pumping blood to the entire rest of the body and back. Its job? Deliver that oxygen and under high pressure. And finally, let's just quickly compare the highways to the return routes. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. Arteries have to have thick, muscular, elastic walls, right? Because they have to handle that massive, high-pressure blast of blood coming straight from the heart. Veins, on the other hand, have much thinner walls because by the time the blood gets to them, the pressure is way lower. And they have these cool little one-way valves inside to make sure the blood, which is now kind of lazily flowing and fighting gravity, doesn't flow backwards. And that really brings us to our final thought. We've seen how every single piece of this puzzle is perfectly designed for its job. So the question to leave you with is this. Why is this elegant two-loop system, where the heart basically acts as a double pump, so absolutely perfect for us? Why is it the ultimate design for getting high-pressure, oxygen-rich blood exactly where it needs to go every second of every day? It's pretty amazing when you think about it. It's the design that literally powers our entire existence.